Hello, Internet. It is I, Sherlock Gnomes, London's protector of garden gnomes, the world's first consulting detective, and today here to answer all of your questions, queries, mysteries that you may require. It is a pleasure to join you here on Facebook Live. I'm just sitting here in my garden in 221B Baker Street, ready for all of your questions. So please comment in the chat. I see we have Kevin Lau here. Hello, Kevin. We have Ariel Roth, Landon. Hello, Christina Valbonisi with a laughing so hard I'm crying emoji. Pleasure to be making you laugh so hard, Christina. Matt Michalowski is here. Robert Bailey Jr. Pleasure. Thank you all very much for joining us. Watson, would you like to say hello? Watson, we're doing the Facebook Live thing. Watson's just over there making us some burritos. Watson, could you make me one, please? Watson, what do you mean the microwave's broken? He says the microwave's broken. Is it plugged in? Have you tried plugging it in? He forgets to plug it in sometimes. Okay, on the plug, there should be a reset button. Try hitting reset. Did that work? No, it's the reset. Never mind. Well, very excited to get started. Watson's going to be working over there on the microwave, apparently. Sorry, he cannot say hi. He sends his apologies. Who else have we got here? Lisa. Lisa says hello. So does Mohammed. Hello, Mohammed. Andrew. Andrew, thank you very much for joining us. Andrew. Michelle Gannon's here. Gives us a thumbs up. Thank you for that. Melanie is waving hello. Thank you very much for waving at us. Megan Hawks says this is awesome. Well, thank you. She gives us a clap emoji. You are very awesome as well. I applaud you. Kay Neal is waving hello. Andrew says hi. Hi, Andrew. Oh, this is great fun already. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll get the questions started in just a moment. We'll just let everyone trickle in, as it were. Watson, we're getting quite a few people. Quite a few people. Would you all like to meet Watson? The people won't like to meet you, Watson. Okay, try the circuit breaker. He's going to be working on that. Oh, well. Sarah Bostwick loves me. Oh, love you too, Sarah. Thank you very much. And Mohammed says, I'm the best detective in the whole world. Well, very high praise indeed, Mohammed. Thank you for that. Monica, you are cute as well. All right, I believe we have enough questions to get going. All right, our first question comes from Maria_Rub_19. Do you enjoy your job? Well, Maria, I would say yes, I do. I enjoy my job very much as the protector of London's gnomes and the world's first consulting detective. It is the job that I feel I was manufactured to perform. And being able to use my intellect for good and for the good of London is, well, it's a dream come true. And I only hope that all of you may find a profession as rewarding for you as mine is to me. Thank you, Maria. Our next question comes from Disney Girl 97. How do bug bites go away, and how do I stop itching them? Well, thank you very much for that question. Bug bites, I hear, are very annoying to humans, Disney Girl, but I promise you the human body is an amazing thing, and those bug bites will go away on their own. But in the meantime, to answer the second part of your question, how do you stop itching them? Well, there are many anti-itch creams and medications that you may use in order to resist the urge to itch, and I highly recommend asking your parents, for they may be able to help you best in that situation. Thank you very much. Our next question comes from Bellatrix3101. Who asks, do you know how to move your butt like a squirrel's? Well, I see word is getting around, Bellatrix. So thank you, first of all, for noticing. Yes, it's true. I have spent many a summer in Hyde Park studying the posterior movements of squirrels. There is a very particular up, down, side to side diagonal motion to which a squirrel may move its bottom, and I do believe I have mastered it after many months of careful study. Our next question comes from Morgan Price, who asks, I live in the tropics and love roses, but they don't seem to be doing very well here. Any help would be much appreciated. Thanks, gnomes. Thank you very much for your question, Morgan. I do not profess to be a botanist, but from what I have heard around the garden is that roses grow best in a well-drained soil, which can be difficult to achieve in the tropics. It's true. So I would recommend attempting to plant them in a mound and keeping that mound well drained. And for a more detailed answer to your question, I suggest checking in with your local botanist. But thank you very much. Next question comes from Romaine Calm. Excellent pun there, Romaine Calm. Hello, Sherlock. It's Chloe. I'm a big fan of your movie. I was wondering, do you still keep in contact with Romeo and Juliet? Are you guys still friends? Sincerely, a dedicated fan. Well, thank you very much for your dedication, Chloe. Yes, I'm absolutely still friends with Romeo and Juliet. They are like no gnomes I've ever known. Truly a remarkable couple. It is a pleasure to be their acquaintance. I have spent actually many a Sunday lawn bowling with them. It's sort of our regular thing now. And it is my pleasure to know them, yes. Coming up next, we have Stay Gorgeous 101, who asks, will Sherlock ever fall in love? Okay, well, I suppose it couldn't be rosy questions, all of them. I don't see why we have to, okay, yes, may as well let the whole world know, yes. Sherlock has actually been in love once before to a wonderful doll named Irene, and we enjoyed a wonderful relationship together for a time, and then things ended in a rather sour fashion. You see, I suppose I had my priorities a bit out of order, and I was a little too focused on my cases over Irene, which was not fair in retrospect, but at the time it seemed prudent that I end things, and I did so via letter. I spent a great deal of time on the letter. I picked the finest parchment, the finest ink, the finest wording, and did she appreciate all of that effort? No. She did not. Did she appreciate the letter? No, she did not. But did she appreciate the thought behind the letter? Not at all. But I hold out hope that one day Irene and I may set aside our differences and she may forgive me. So thank you, Stay Gorgeous, for that deep and personal question. Always a pleasure reliving that. Our next question comes from Toasty Pearl, who says, I play violin. Does Sherlock play an instrument too? Always a pleasure to meet a fellow violinist. Toasty Pearl, yes, I play the violin as well. Oftentimes, in my free time, you can find me playing and composing. I'm actually working on a little ditty right now. This one is called Swarm of Bees. I'll admit it sounds better on violin, but not terrible, just when I'm making it with mouth sounds. I hope you all agree. Next question comes from Marty the Learnius, who asks, do you feel that you overuse your nomenclature? Nomenclature spelled here with a G, so top-level gnome pun there, Marty the Learnius. Yes, I do have an extensive nomenclature. For those of you who don't know, nomenclature being the naming of things in a scientific manner. But do I overuse it? I would say no, because could a doctor overuse her medical knowledge? Could a pilot overuse knowledge of aeroplanes? I don't believe so. So can I overuse my extensive intellect to protect London's gnomes? No, I don't believe so. But thank you very much for your question, Marty. All right. We're moving on now to a question from Megan Panda Girl Hawks, who asks, "Hey, smiley face, will you star in a music video?" Well, Megan, I've never been asked before, but if I was invited to star in a music video, I can't say I would turn down the opportunity. It sounds like a grand old time. So thank you very much. One of my favourite music videos, I would say, is Thriller. I think I would love to be in all of that monster makeup. But, I'd never really put much thought to it. But now that you mention it, yes, that would be great fun. Our next question comes from Andrew Essard, who asks, "How did you become such a great detective?" Andrew, very interested in an origin story, I see. Well, you see, Andrew, it all started in a factory where gnomes were being made. I was manufactured, and not with all of this fabulous intellect, but much like any other gnome. But it was an accident on the line. I fell off into a pile of books in a little nook of the factory, and I spent many weeks, which turned into months, which turned into years, studying these books, and then until I was found and put back on the line with great more knowledge than I entered into. And what was I to do with all of this knowledge? I was to become the world's first consulting detective and protector of gnomes. And that is, in a nutshell, the origin story of Sherlock Gnomes. So thank you very much. Next question is Dave Werner. "Where can we get an awesome hat like that?" Well, Dave Werner, there are few hats like this one, because this one is mine. It is imbued with a great deal of love and care, which I believe that only I can provide. However, I hear there are many hats for sale on the internet, and you may like them just as much as this one, if not more, once you have given it your own care and your own love. Next question comes from Audrey Y, who asks, "Who keeps stealing my other sock from the dryer?" Well, Audrey, there are some cases that are too great for even Sherlock to solve. This is not one of them. Who is stealing your sock from the dryer? It is your dog. Your dog is taking your sock and he's eating it or burying it. Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. Next question comes from David Kang. "Do you like sports?" I cannot say that I follow sport with any regularity, a professional sport, that is. That said, as I said earlier, I do love to spend a Sunday lawn bowling with Romeo and Juliet, and I suppose that is a sport in of itself. And I do quite enjoy that. Our next question, Mohammed Tahar Khan. "Will you solve cases involving ghosts?" I have not yet been asked to solve a case involving a ghost, at least not a case that turned out to truly be a ghost. But I would be open to the possibility. In the cases where I have been asked to solve a case with a ghost, it has never turned out to truly be a ghost, but very often simply a gnome or a doll or a gargoyle or a human masquerading as one under a sheet or with a great deal of technological effort. So sounds pumped in from another room, perhaps. All right, coming up next we have Sans asks, "Sherlock, how many toes you got?" Well, Sans, I suppose that's a bit of a strange question, but I've no problem telling you. Just like you, I have 5 toes. I am made of porcelain, so they are fused together, but they are 5 distinct toes. So thank you very much for that question, Sans. Next up, we have Posiesha, who asks, is bike short for bicycle? Well, I suppose if there were to be someone named Bikel and they abbreviated their name to Bike, well then yes, Bike would be short for their name, Bikel. Have I ever met a Bikel? No, but I do hope to one day. That would be quite a wonderful person to meet. All right, next up we have, does Sherlock treat Watson like a younger brother? They act so much like siblings. This question comes from Toasty Pearl. Watson, do I treat you like a younger brother? What? Well, I don't believe I do. Are the burritos ready? What? Watson, did you try the circuit breaker? Well, you're being difficult. Yes, I suppose we're a bit like brothers. Thank you very much for that question, Toasty Pearl. Next up, we have Bork, who asks, if a gnome is shattered but gets glued back together, how are they not dead? How is it not like a gnome zombie, at least? Well, very good question, Bork. You see, when a gnome is shattered and put back together, it is like a form of medicine. You see, if you were to lose a fingernail, would you be a zombie? I don't think so. Losing a part of yourself and then having it put back on is not tantamount to becoming a zombie. However, if there were to be a gnome zombie, it would be because they were bit by a gnome zombie, who was in turn bitten by another gnome zombie, and so on, which I believe is just an entirely different thing. Well, thank you very much, Bork. Next up, we have Josh Dutton asking, what do you like most about London? Well, that's hard to say, Josh. I love so very many things about London. Its culture, its gnomes, its theatre. But I have to say, my favourite thing about London would be a stroll along the Thames. It's right at sunset. It's a beautiful sight to take in. So much wonderful food, so much wonderful live music going on. It is a little bit difficult to avoid being detected by humans, as they are often dominating the Thames. But as you'll find with humans, they are often very much preoccupied with themselves and not as much with the world around them. Next up, we have a question from Ariel Roth, who asks, is your refrigerator running? Well, very nice try, Ariel. Yes, my refrigerator is running, but no, I will not go and catch it. Not again. Not again. Next up, we have Mel So Crazy, who asks, hey Sherlock, what is your innermost favourite food and colour? Well, I would have to say my favourite food would be a vegetable pizza. First of all, because pizza is objectively delicious, and vegetable because it reminds me of all the wonderful vegetables that grow in the gardens which I protect. And as for my favourite colour, well, as you can see, I do have a bit of a fondness for green and brown. Of those, I would say green, with brown being a very, very close second. So thank you very much, Mel So Crazy. Noob of Nintendo and Junk asks, what's your favourite breed of dog? Well, Noob of Nintendo and Junk, I wouldn't say I have a favourite breed of dog. I would say I have a favourite kind of dog, and that is my favourite kind of dog is the one that does not immediately bite me, the one that doesn't see me and go for the head. You see, there is a hound owned by the Baskerville family, and I would say that hound is my least favourite creature in all of London, perhaps all of the world, because, well, he is ravenous, and he sees a little gnome, and he sees an opportunity to bite. And if there's a dog that doesn't do that, well, I'm a big fan of that dog. Next, we have Mohammed asking, why did you not attend the royal wedding? Well, you see, Mohammed, I am actually very good friends with the royal family, as gnomes, and so while all of the humans were distracted by the royal wedding, all of us gnomes were actually having a grand old party in the gardens of Buckingham Palace because all of the humans had left. It was a wild time, I have to tell you. It was gnomes jumping in fountains. Watson was going absolutely mad at the snacks table. Speaking of snacks, Watson, what do you mean yes, it's frozen in the middle. You have to rotate it 90 degrees, halfway, you have to rotate it and then you put it back in for another 2 minutes. Okay. You're making me one, right? Okay. But yes, to answer your question, I was not at the royal wedding because I was at, the party of parties. And I'm so sorry that you could not attend, Mohammed. Because it was a wild time. Next, we have a question from Sini S, who asks, can the gnomes eat? Yes, Sini S, we can eat. My favorite thing to eat, well, I mentioned